Well, it's a very cold morning here in Central Oregon. It's supposed to possibly snow or rain today. We have snow on the mountains, which is always so exciting, that first covering. Years ago, there was like snow on the mountain almost year-round. But, you know, with the changing weather, it's disconcerting for us around here when we see in July and August that there's no snow left on the mountain. There's just a few little glaciers. So it's always exciting now to see those girls all covered in white cotton. Well, today I am going to talk a little bit about prepping my embroidery. I have been on a wool prepping binge. It's almost like I can't get enough of it. I had some exciting projects that I've prepped for the road, and one of these, you know, the thing I love about All Through the Night, Bonnie Sullivan, and just so you know, I tried to put the link down in the description for where I've gotten these products. But this Winter Friends banner is just so adorable. And what I love about Bonnie Sullivan's stuff is that a lot of times she pre-prints a design on the fabric, and then you put the wool or embroidery over the top of that design. And so I have to stitch these little snowmen who were all out of wool that I put on top of the pre-printed little flag banner. And then once I get them all stitched, then I'll stitch those banners together, and it'll be like a little flag banner of Winter Friends. The downside to her projects, which is a marketing genius, is that you can't really use these again. The pattern, the pre-printed comes in with the pattern, and if you wanted to share this pattern with another friend, or God forbid you're selling it, there's no banner going to be in there, and then you have to recreate the whole entire thing, which, you know, if someone wanted to do that, they are more than willing to try. Me? No. It's a one-time shot. I have been also feverishly working on Christmas presents. You know, it would be better if I planned a little bit ahead, but you know how that goes. I mean, I was that college student that was binge studying 24 hours before the final exam, so I don't know why I would think that as a senior citizen I would be any different. You are who you are. And so here I am, feverishly trying to get my Christmas presents done. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because I will have gifted this before this video is even released, because we're always about a week or two or more out with our videos because our lives are just too busy to do real-time videos. But this is another Bonnie Sullivan, All Through the Night, Let Your Heart Sing. It's an adorable pillow. And so I am down to doing the snowflake stitching. Isn't that adorable? So I have to stitch. I decided not to put these big white buttons, but to put little round white wool pieces that I'm going to turn these into snowflakes. And then I'll turn this whole thing into a pillow. But I thought this was just, it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All Through the Night by Bonnie Sullivan. And I purchased these, this I purchased as a kit. The other one I purchased the pattern, which came with the little pre-printed panel, but the wool was out of my stash. And I purchased both of those at Pioneer Quilts in Portland, Oregon. They are one of my favorite go-to wool stores. They have the most gorgeous hand-dyed wool that's just dyed for them. And you don't have to buy the whole yardage of wool. You can buy a fat quarter, a half yard, and when they roll out the piece of wool, you know, it's hand-dyed, so it's looking very much like an individual piece of wool art. You can say, oh, I want this half or this fat quarter over here because I like the modeling better. That place is unbelievable. So if you ever get a chance to stop by there, they're in a historic farmhouse on the rural areas. Well, not so rural anymore. They're surrounded by town in Portland. And also they have a great website, so you can order any of those two things online. But I'm here to tell you, you better be quick because these are so adorable. They probably are just going like that. So on to the transferring of my next embroidery projects. So this is the thing. I've been doing all this wool prepping in preparation for the next Quilt Roadies adventure. And I know that I'm going to have a little bit of other things to do, or, you know, it's going to drive me crazy. So I love to embroider, I love to cross stitch, so I'm going to have to figure out those projects. So I had in my mind that I wanted to embroider this specific project that I got like 3 years ago. It was a free pattern by Crabapple Hill, and I love their patterns. And I couldn't find it. Well, lucky for me, 2 girlfriends showed up yesterday for stitching, and after we got a little tired of all day stitching, we started digging through my patterns, and I have a bookshelf of patterns, because not only did I purchase patterns all along the way, anytime a website had a free pattern, I was like, oh my god, I gotta make that! Oh my god, back from 1997 I haven't made it? Well, there's a problem. So with the help of these two, we went through a lot of my binders and just purged a lot of these old patterns while we were looking for this one specific pattern, and we couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. And then as my one friend was dumping all this loose paper into a bag for recycle, she found it in the throwaway pile. Oh my god! So luckily for me, I get to make it. There's 2 ways I prep embroidery. One, my favorite way, is with my miso light table. And I will put the link down below also. Now this table is not one of those new, modern, streamlined light tables. This is a functional table. And it is lightweight plastic. And all you do is you have this light bar that you can pick up at any hardware store. And I stick it under there. And I can move this light bar back and forth to get better, although, you know, it just gives such nice light. I taped down my pattern directly onto the light table. And then there's these super little clips that I clipped my fabric on top of the pattern. And then the light shows through the pattern, and you can see the pattern. So what I learned at Crabapple Hill was that Meg Hockey uses a .01 brown micron pen to trace her patterns. Now usually I had been on a big transferees binge where I did transferees for all of my embroidery. What I have come to find out is the transferees is a 2-step process. Let me go get a pack just to show you. I hope the camera didn't pick me bending up over So this is what Transferease looks like. It is a 8 by 10 sheet where a piece of fusible fabric, smooth on one side, sticky on the back side of it, is adhered to a piece of like freezer paper. The thing about this is it's quick. You stick it in your printer, you put your pattern on the top of your printer, and it prints your pattern right out there. Two things. If you have a large pattern, you're going to have to figure out how to print all those sheets and put them together. And then when you peel this back, you stick it on your fabric and you start stitching. It's not all the drawing. But let me tell you, I'll show you. Hang in there. This is a process. So in preparation for a bigger project a few years ago, which I have not done yet, I printed the whole project on Transferease. So this is Crabapple Hill pattern. You know, over the hill and through the woods, I still want to do that. So I printed all the different segments of that long sheet, and I'm going to have to stick them together. This is a throwaway for me. I know I'm not going to do this on Transferease now that I know about this method. Transferease is great for a project that has larger open spaces on your embroidery, because the bottom line is, once you have embroidered your project, you have to then stick your whole project in cold water and gently mush it around so that this stuff melts away. Miracle of miracles. It melts away, and it takes, you know, a while to get it all. It feels really slimy, like you've made goldfish soup or something. But, or like no, I'm not going to say that. But it's kind of gross feeling, really slimy. But once you get it off, then you dry your piece and you iron it, and it's all done. What I have found over the years, because you know this is what I'm doing, I'm showing you what's the best, easiest way to do things. The thing about this, and let me come around and get you a closer look at this. So here's this Transferease tree. It's a pain in the neck to get the Transferease out from all in between these tiny little spaces. So for a more detailed project, I am thinking Transferease is not my favorite. I use it for bigger wide open spaces, so I am going to ultimately probably retrace this whole thing directly onto the fabric, because it is so easy. With this 0.01 brown micron pen, I can trace this very detailed pattern of these 4 ball jars filled with product and not have to wash it away. So initially what I'm doing, and if you embroider, you know, you're using 2 threads, this skinny little brown micron pen, you don't even see it. So I don't worry about it showing through. So I'm going to be tracing away on this, and once we get done, then I'll show you that next step that I do. Well, I am done tracing, but before I take it up, I kind of take a closer look and try to figure out if I've missed anything. And one of the things I learned when I'm tracing an embroidery pattern is wherever there's supposed to be a lazy daisy stitch or a colonial or French knot, I just put a dot or a line, and so that way I don't have to exactly make that daisy or that colonial stitch fit over my drawing. I know that it's the ink will be covered up. So now, here we go. Oh, and I have to say, the thing I love about my miso table is when I use it on my my ironing board, which is a little higher. I have a big board on top of a old dresser. I looked for a kind of an old dresser to mount my big board on, so then I had storage underneath. This miso table raises it up even higher, which is great for my back. And rather than one of those skinny, modern-looking light tables that are flat, they look awesome, but this is so much more functional for my aging body because I can lean on it, and it's that much higher, and give my back and shoulders a rest as I'm tracing. So that's why I like it. So now I'm going to unclip my clips and take my piece off, and you see I had the pattern taped to the top of the table. And then here's a closer look at my tracing. See all that detail? I mean, trying to get the transferease gummy stuff when it's wet out from in between, you're constantly having to rub your stitches. So, and I use the masking tape, and I just leave it on the table because I use it over and over again. And then my pattern can be removed, and my table's ready to put away. So now the next step to this process is to put the SF-101 on the back. Oh yeah, I am liking that Pellon product. And the reason I like it is because, you know, I'm not one of those perfectionists that the back has to look as awesome as the front. Who's gonna see the back? You know? So I like to do a lot of crossover. And I don't, you know, when you put the Pellon product, not only do I not have to use a hoop, because I'm really good tension-wise to not yank that thread to gather it up. And with the Pellon on the back, it helps keep that from happening. But I can also do a lot of crossover. So now I just have to iron the Pellon onto the back. I've cut the Pellon SF-101 to the size of my project, and I have the bumpy side against the wrong side of my project, and now I'm going to iron it. I don't have to worry about smearing because this micron pen is tough. It's not going to smear. So once my iron is hot, then we'll press the two sheets together and I'll be ready to stitch this. This pattern was a free pattern that was on the Crabapple Hill site a while ago. I don't know if you can still find it there, but Crabapple Hill has some awesome embroidery patterns. And today, since it's a full day of beehive heaven, I love that. I love when those days show up where I get to just hang out in the beehive and it looks cold and I get to just stitch or think about new things that I want to do. That makes my heart sing. I've got my grapes. I've got my laptop for Christmas movies. I've got my phone and my Bluetooth speaker for book on audiobook, which I'm listening to Pachinko right now, which is an amazing book. I've got my warm tea, not iced tea. I was going to say iced tea. This is for warm and ice. And so I'm kind of set to hunker down in here. Enzo's laying on the ground. So here we go. My iron is all hot. Oh, I have been wanting to do this pattern for a long time. This is why I don't get a whole lot done. It's because so much of my work is handwork. So I'm going to flip it over and iron from the back side too. So I am ironing on the smooth side of the SF-101, and the sticky bumpy side is against my fabric. And there we go. It's all ready. That's going to be fun to stitch. I don't know if I'll make it into a pillow or not, but it is made into a pillow on her pattern with a cake stand blocks surrounding it. Although it is awful cute. It would be awesome in the dining room or kitchen area. So we shall see. Well, we'll call this video here. I've decorated a little bit of the beehive with some Christmas things, and we'll keep you updated about our plans. And right now, just keep family and friends close to your heart. There's a lot of people who have been suffering a lot this last month. My childhood girlfriend's family lost their business and their homes. Their entire family, 3 homes were lost in the Paradise Fire, and they right now have there are different GoFundMe sites for these families, and right now they need monetary support more than anything else. It's a tough one, but I'll put a link, just in case, I'll put a little link down in the description for my girlfriend's particular family's GoFundMe site. They have 4 children. Their oldest is a senior in high school. I'm not sure how that's all working. I know that they were looking to get a trailer in order to have some home base. It's a bizarre thing to think that one would lose everything, literally everything. He had his own business burned to the ground. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. So keep them all in your thoughts and prayers, and be grateful. Be grateful for the blessings of your life. And thank you for hanging out with me. Talk to you later. Hey, Enzo, don't you want to come here? Come here. Here, sit down. I'll get a final picture of you, huh? How are you? Huh? Say hi to your friends. Huh? Okay, goodbye.